Welcome, Chicago Park District.
Hey Young Cultural Stewards, it's Peregrine. Today we're going to get our hands in the dirt and make some recycled seed starting pots using stuff that you can find at home. This is one that I made the other day for my radish seeds. I probably made this on Thursday and today is Monday. So as you can see, there are already a few little plants popping up, these little cuties. As an artist, I am really inspired by nature, and I believe that there is so much that we can learn from plants and from other more than human life on Earth if we just lean in and listen. Gardening is one way that I have been trying to get connected with the earth. I live in Chicago, and so and I'm a renter, and so I don't have a lot of space to plant things. But I have found some creative solutions, and so I'm excited to share some of this with you today.
For this project, you'll need 1 or 2 sheets of paper. This can be junk mail or newspaper, magazines, all of that stuff is good. You'll need a cardboard box. And if you have access to one, a little glass baking dish or some kind of tray, it could be made of whatever material to put your box in. You would probably only need it for 2 weeks to start your seeds before transplanting them outside into a bigger pot. You'll also need some toilet paper tubes. These are just made of cardboard. You can also grab the tube inside of a paper towel roll. You'll need some scissors and then some mark making materials. I have some acrylic paint, but any kind of paint will do. Poster paints are fine too, watercolors. And then I have some markers. And lastly, you'll need some seeds. I'll be planting carrots and some potting soil, which you can get from a hardware store or a garden supply store. Let's get started. First, roll up your sleeves, shake all the wiggles out, take a deep breath in, and let it out. Nice. Grab your cardboard box, and we're going to cut the top flaps off of your box. We're going to use these later, or we'll use one of these later. Now take one of your cardboard rolls, eyeball about 1 inch up from the bottom of this roll, and make a cut straight up to that point. So here's what mine looks like. It's about a 1 inch cut. Doesn't have to be precise. You're gonna keep making cuts all the way around the bottom of your cardboard roll. Doesn't matter how many there are, you'll probably end up with at least 4. And you'll flip over your roll so that the cuts are on top. Now we've made these little flaps. We're gonna fold these flaps in towards the center. Try to get a nice strong fold in there, because this is going to become the bottom of a little seed pot. So this is gonna hold this is gonna hold 1 seed and some soil. So we'll do that same thing again with the rest of your cardboard rolls. If you have a paper towel roll, you'll want to cut that into 3 or 4 little pieces, and then you'll be able to plant more seeds. So I've tossed all of my cardboard rolls inside of my box, and now I'm going to take one of the cardboard flaps that I cut off my box earlier, use this one, and design a little label for my seeds. So if you have paints, if you have markers, if you want to, at this point, turn your label, your sign into a little collage, you can do that. Just use whatever materials you can find at home. It can be really fun to think of creative ways to use the supplies that you have available to you. I want to share a couple of creative ways to get your hands on some seeds. The first way is this. When you go to the grocery store and get fruits and vegetables, oftentimes those will contain seeds. This is how I get my tomato seeds, my jalapeno seeds, my bell pepper seeds. And usually when you're cooking, you'll have to take those seeds out anyway. So what you'll do is remove the seeds, rinse them off so that they don't have any more of the vegetable or like juices from the fruit on them anymore. And then just kind of sit them out to dry someplace where you won't accidentally throw them away. You can put them on a paper towel. My mom just puts her seeds on a styrofoam plate and leaves them on the kitchen counter. And once those seeds are dry, they're ready to be planted or to be... Another way is to ask your family members, your friends, relatives, neighbors to see if they have any seeds that they can pass off to you. If you know any gardeners, you can be pretty certain that they'll have extra seeds that they can give. And for the most part, my experience with people who love to garden is that they also love to share gardening tips and practices and seeds. And that's actually how I got the carrot seeds that I'm planting today. Now we get to the messy part. I have my cardboard box, all of my cardboard tubes, my seeds, and then my soil, or you can also use compost, and you can get soil and compost in the same place in garden supply stores, like I mentioned earlier, or hardware stores. You're gonna scoop some soil out and start filling your box up with soil. So we'll make a kind of a thin layer of soil throughout the box, and then start to stand your seed pots. Stand those up and fill them with soil. And if they don't stand up completely straight right now, that is fine. Once you have filled that all the way up, you can plant your seeds. Check the back of your seed packet for growing instructions, or if you have a little packet like mine where you don't have growing instructions, do a quick search online. Patting them down enough so that they don't get swept away by the wind. I also sometimes sprinkle some seeds just to the side, outside of the tubes, just as an experiment, because why not? Okay, I'm gonna pat these all down. You can prep the soil by taking some water and sprinkling it all around the soil with your fingers. Or if you have a spray bottle, I just got this from a dollar store. That works really well for distributing water, just enough water so that your seeds don't get soaked. This is a pretty important beginner gardener tip. because if you have too much water, if you just pour water straight out of a jar or something like that, it might be too much for your seeds to handle and they might not grow, or you could completely drench your box. There could be mold that grows in your setup, things like that. My sign is all dry, so I'm just going to stick it right inside of my box. Ta-da! Now you can sit back and enjoy the home that you've created for your seeds. One thing that I love about plants is that they remind me to grow at my own pace. Each plant is unique. You have plants like radishes that start popping up in like 2 weeks. And then you have plants like garlic that take a full winter of rest before you can fry them up with some rice and some eggs. You may be wondering what happens next, and you're right, the project does not end here. I have a little list for you. The first thing on the list is to check how much sun your seeds need in order to germinate or sprout. So some seeds need to be placed in full sun, so you can leave them on a sunny windowsill, and some seeds don't need very much sun at all, so you can just place that right on your kitchen counter. The next thing to do is to check your soil every day. I know this sounds like a lot, but you're really just checking to see if the soil is dry. And if it is, you can give it a little spritz with your spray bottle of water, or sprinkle some water on with your fingers. This will be really helpful these first few days to encourage your seeds to grow. Once your seedlings grow to be an inch tall or even taller and it starts to warm up outside, you can bring them outside and plant them in a bigger pot or out in the garden if you have access to a garden. This is called transplanting. And when you transplant, you can also transplant the cardboard little seed pot that we made today. This is because cardboard is biodegradable, which means that it'll soften and break down into the soil on its own. And it'll happen over time because it's getting wet and it's getting softer. Thanks for going on this journey with me, and happy planting. If you try this project out, we would love, 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 love to see how it came out. I would love to know what kinds of seeds you're growing this spring. Tag us on Instagram at Young Cultural Stewards or comment below. I'll be sharing the progress of my seeds as well. Peace.